I'm very happy to come back to the Nordic countries because these are old allies of ours in the struggle against apartheid, all of them, the Nordic countries, very close. So indeed, the attitude towards Nordic business would be like that. For us as South Africans, we would think that the same commitment shown by the Nordic people over many decades, we've got a common enemy, this racism in South Africa. Let's fight it and defeat it, and stayed together for decades. That they would have the same thing, because the challenge, there is a challenge of African economic development, the eradication of poverty on the continent, and making sure that we achieve sustained economic growth and not depending just on the export of commodities, but the transformation of the economy. So I mean, even the conference here, this matter of focusing on investing in the African cities, it's very important, it's critical. It's not saying how much gold am I going to dig out of the ground and sell somewhere. It's to develop African cities because obviously, as has been said, the rate of urbanization on the continent is high and will increase. So inevitably, you are going to get these populations coming in. What are you then doing about the economies of the cities, which become a principal driver in terms of the economic transformation and development of the continent? And I think that that you would have a conference here, NABA, convened by NABA, to discuss this matter is important. In a sense, I should say, I'm not surprised. I wouldn't have expected less of the Nordic business people, because I mean, really, they don't need. You've got the former Prime Minister of Norway here, Mr. Bonnevik. I don't have to convince him about the challenge, the tasks, the obligation he has to sustain an involvement in these African challenges, which he had demonstrated for many years, with regard to making sure that our continent is completely rid of this history of colonialism, apartheid, white minority rule, and so on. So I don't have to say to him, look, you've got an obligation to. He knows that. And I think this should be the sentiment in many minds among the Nordic business people, that really it's a continuation of a friendship and support and solidarity, which has sustained many of us for a long time. Part of the problem is the problems of eradicating the legacy of apartheid. It's very deeply entrenched. You are talking about a system of colonialism and apartheid which is 350 years old. And has produced a particular kind of society. So change comes in South Africa. South Africa becomes a democratic country in '94, and naturally, the population expects that things are going to change very quickly for the better. And indeed, the ANC also, we might also have thought we could move things quickly forward. But the practice has shown that it takes time. So the ANC has been in power now since '94, whether national government or many of the majority of the municipalities. And so people are saying that our expectations have not been met. And indeed, and they are correct. I'm still living in a house without electricity. I'm still living in a shack, and all sorts of problems like this. I'm still unemployed. So the ANC pays a price for that. Objectively, what you've got to do, if you are a governing party, is to work to eradicate that legacy, which means ending the levels of inequality in society, which again are characterized in racial terms. If you are white, you are relatively well off or very well off. If you are black, you are very poor or less poor. I'm saying that even the settlements, if you fly over Johannesburg, you would be able to tell, visiting as a Nigerian, which area is black and which area is white, just from seeing the trees. The white areas are very wooded, lots of trees and so on, very green.
Yeah, I saw a picture just this week of that.
Black areas, not
Condensed.
a single tree.
Yeah, and it's what we're talking about today, about cities. I mean, that's an issue.
That's right.
About how cities grow is an indication of actually the divide between peoples.
But I'm saying that, you see, that's a task. It's an objective task which any government in South Africa, whether it's ANC or DA, would face, the eradication of that legacy. So the current government of South Africa, I think, would have to be measured by what it is doing to continue that work of the eradication of the legacy of apartheid and colonialism. I think it's necessary in the South African case to come back to an approach which says, really let the people participate in the process of determining their future. And so you've got to say, therefore, to the whole population of South Africa, let's therefore sit down and let's agree what is priority, because I might be able to pay for free higher education, the demand that is there now in South Africa. We might be able to make higher education completely free. But it means we can't build clinics, we can't tar roads, and things like that. So what do we sacrifice for now in order to address that? And you need the whole population involved in that.
President Thabo Mbeki. Thank you so much.
Thought leader, our minds are awakening. Thought leader, our worlds are waiting. Thought leader, a vision for tomorrow, built on the dreams of